Hello, and welcome to the Banker's Tech Talk video series, keeping up with developments in the FinTech space. I'm Joy Macknight, Managing Editor at The Banker, and I'm joined by Chijioke Dozie, CEO and co-founder of Carbon, a Nigerian FinTech that provides easy-to-use tools for personal financial management. Chijioke, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you, Joy.
So why is financial inclusion so important in a country like Nigeria?
So financial inclusion is very important because it's all about access. We have 200 million people, we have 40 million that have bank accounts, the rest are underbanked and unbanked. And when you don't have access to financial services at your fingertips, every sort of emergency becomes potentially threatening. So you lose your job or you have a health emergency, and if you can't fund that, then it becomes life-threatening. So it's really important for people to have access and options. One thing I tell people when they come to Lagos versus when they go to other countries is when you look at things like cars, apartments, these are all leased, whereas in Nigeria, they're all cash finance. So we don't have that flexibility, we don't have the access that, when you're in a country like, say, the UK, where there's a lot of financial inclusion, people have choices, people have options, they can make different decisions. You can't really do that in a place like Nigeria or in wider parts of Africa.
So there's also specific barriers for women to access financial services. What are they?
We've interviewed lots of women. We've interviewed about 50 women of our customers, and we asked them, why haven't you accessed financial services previously? And one, it was products were not designed with them in mind. There's this perception that, it's sort of men that take the loans and not women. We had an interesting interview with a lady, if I could just quickly talk about it. And she got married, and, she said that it's very hard for her to borrow money from friends and family now because there was this perception that if she did, her husband was not sort of meeting up with his obligations. So for her, it was, she felt she was shut out of accessing funds. So she came to us to borrow money. So it's that perception that sometimes the products are for men, and the way they're designed, the way they look, it's a very sort of male-focused financial products.
Okay, so how does Carbon help, let's say, women, but other marginalized communities really access financial services?
So one thing we do is, the way we actually provide our loans, we do it through an Android app. It's a smartphone. We look at the data points on your phone. So we look at things like your contact details, your location, how you actually apply for the loan, and also your financial transactions. And we do that, and we disperse loans within 5 minutes.
That's really impressive, actually. So my other question was really around the sort of FinTech situation in Lagos specifically. Do you think that there's things that the government or the regulators could do to actually support the FinTech community even more than it has done?
Certainly. I think there are a couple of things that I think the regulator or the government could do to actually sort of catalyze the FinTech community even further. I think one is, access to sandboxes. FinTech companies don't have a sandbox where they could actually just sort of pilot their products. I think that's a huge barrier because, when they go to pitch to banks, there's that sort of reluctance from banks to deal with FinTech companies because their products are untested. So having a sandbox that allows them to actually pilot their products would be great. I think open banking is also would be a significant benefit to the community. For instance, in Nigeria, it's very hard for a FinTech company like ours to get a bank statement from another customer. The banks sort of make it difficult for third parties to access, even with the customer's permission, their bank statements. Now, open banking would actually help third parties like Carbon access anyone's bank statements with the permission, and we can actually then, assess their creditworthiness and then give them a loan or an insurance product or a health product or, remittances or any sort of financial transaction that they would want for.
Okay. Well, my last question is really about your future plans.
So Carbon's mission is to be a Pan-African digital bank for Africans and African diaspora. So it is only right for us to be based in some of the economic centers in Africa. So Kenya is one, and we're launching in end of November. We're looking to go to Ghana, we're looking to go to Cote d'Ivoire, we're looking to also expand into Egypt. We hope to learn a lot from our experiences in Kenya and bring that back to Nigeria. So for instance, in Nigeria, we only deal with people who are underbanked, so they have to have a bank account. Whereas in Kenya and Ghana, we deal with people who don't have a bank account. They have a mobile money wallet, which means that we can actually take that learning, bring that back to Nigeria, and also maybe serve people who don't have bank accounts, increasing our addressable market.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your insights, Chijioke.
Thank you, Joy.